Hi, Crystal. How's it going? How's your day going?
It's going great. We made it happen.
So, how did the training session go?
Man, training is always a good time. I was training at Black House this morning, which was supposed to be like an hour and a half session that turned into a 3-hour session. But that's what happens when Kenny Johnson is running class. You just never know what's going to come out of that.
Yeah. And you train at Black House, right?
I train at Black House MMA, yeah.
Do you know Miguel Jacob?
Yeah, I know Miguel.
Yeah, I'm going to interview him on Friday, I believe.
Yeah,
I thought that was cool. Yeah, so I just want to say congrats on winning the LFA title. How does it feel to have the status of world champion next to your name?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's amazing. You know, MMA LFA world champion is a title that I've been looking forward to for a while now. So I'm ecstatic. I'm absolutely ecstatic. To be a pro MMA fighter world champion, that's good. That's a good feeling.
And I'm sure it's a great feeling to have the LFA title, but I'm sure that you have your sights on the UFC title now. How did it feel to get the call from the UFC to be on the Contender series in a couple of weeks?
Man, I didn't even get to go to sleep that night that I won the title, and we got the phone call for the Contender series, and immediately I was like, yes, absolutely, sign me up. they were like pumping the brakes for me. They're like, let's see, like, you just fought 4 rounds of a war. Like, let's see how your body feels, you know? But instantly I was ready to rock and roll, and I'm so honored, you know, like, I'm so honored, and I worked so hard. You know, I mean, you can ask any single person that's ever seen me in the gym. Like, I'm happy, I'm smiling, but when it's time to work, we work, you know? So it's like, this is something that we've always been prepping for.
And going back to your submission win over Sam Hughes, you know, you pulled off the amazing inverted triangle. And do you think that's going to be in the submission of the year conversation?
Hell yeah, that is. Absolutely. That's a crazy submission, you know, with a very wild setup, because I came from a leg lock position all the way up to the inverted triangle, you know. And, I mean, if it's not, it should be. So, yeah, that's a submission of the year for sure.
And, you know, obviously you were the headliner of that card. And, you know, was there any more added pressure that you were going to headline that card? And did it affect you going into the fight?
You know, as far as the headline goes, for me, no. I have headline cards before. And I fought in the finals of jiu-jitsu before, and, you know, I fought in Abu Dhabi. Like, I wouldn't say it was about the pressure. The biggest difference was the COVID situation. You know, I had another teammate that was fighting on that card, and he fought right before me. So my coaches were not in the back with me. Like, I'm getting ready to go out and fight, you know, and it's like you're getting engaged, and a lot of fighters are back there hitting pads with their coaches or warming up. And I was by myself, you know. I'm just sitting there just like rocking and getting ready. And that was probably the hardest part, to be honest, more so than headlining. I kind of like pressure a little bit. I am an entertainer naturally, you know. So for me to be in front of the crowd, per se, on TV, you know, like the spotlight, the final person who's out there, that was cool. But yeah, I think it was the situation just being in the back all by myself, waiting to fight.
And how was it like fighting in an empty arena like that?
Yeah, that was new. And I gotta say, I don't know if it was terrible. I kind of enjoyed it. You know, I mean, the coaches make enough noise for everybody. You know, you got a lot of the staff that's there and they cheer, but you can actually hear your coaches, you know, above everything, where normally, like, if some crazy situation is happening and you guys are in the middle of a scuffle, the crowd's going nuts and your coaches are trying to yell directions over the crowd. And you still always hear your coaches, but it's more difficult, you know, because there's more distraction. So I almost enjoy it.
Yeah, and, you know, you got the call for the UFC, or like the Contender series, and, you know, you're going to fight Cory McKenna. What do you think of her as an opponent, and do you have a certain prediction for the fight?
Yeah, prediction. My hand raised. Done. Yeah, Cory McKenna comes out of Cage Warriors. So the way the LFA works here in the States it's kind of the way that Cage Warriors works over, overseas where she's from. So it's cool. She comes from a very credible promotion. I know that she spends time training at some very credible camps, and it's gonna be a great fight. But I mean, I'm gonna knock her out or submit her. So let's go with it.
Yeah, I like that prediction. And going back into your career, it's you only have one loss as a professional. What do you think you took most out of that one loss going forward?
Yeah, and that loss came at a really hard time in my life. People don't see what's going on behind the scenes, but at the time I was taking care of my father, who was terminally ill, and he ended up passing away just a few months after that.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, that's okay. And then I moved out here to California, and I really got focused, because it was kind of one of those situations, like, he would want me to kind of continue on to be great. And, I'm happy for the way that my life has been turning out. But yeah, I took a lot away. I took away point systems in MMA matter.
Yeah.
You got to be looking like you're winning the fight. I am extremely powerful, but that also takes away from like cardio situations. So guess what I started working on? And I feel a lot more confident and more well-rounded. You learn a lot from your losses, but I learn a lot from my wins too, because I look at them and I evaluate them. But yeah, I definitely took a lot away from that fight, and it's not a good feeling, and it's not something I enjoy experiencing. So I like to grow. I like to grow whether I'm doing good or bad. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And getting into the sport, growing like you have, like what made you want to get into the sport? Like, was there like a certain event or like a certain fighter that you wanted like to get into MMA for?
Yeah, I was a dancer. So a lot of people know I'm very public about it. I was a stripper for 13 years. And I say was because life is changing and it's good, and I'm really excited about it. But somebody saw me at the club, and they were like, if you put that same attitude and mindset towards fighting, you'll be successful at it. I started off in Muay Thai, and then we helped to build an MMA gym called Werent Training Center over in Columbus, Ohio. And people just kind of started pushing me into the MMA direction. So it was a natural progression into MMA. But I think like I've always been a fighter. I got kicked out of school for fighting growing up. And
yeah,
when people from school find out that I'm a fighter, they're like, no, yeah, this makes sense.
and if you were like, I guess with MMA, like if you weren't into MMA, like what would you be doing? Like, would you still be like a stripper, or like what careers would you pursue if it weren't for MMA?
I would have either gone out for Cirque du Soleil, because that was also a life option for me at one point, or WWE for sure. I've talked to them several different times. I've done a lot of training for them, and I've been recruited by them. So, but I enjoy fighting. Like, I really, really enjoy fighting a lot. Like, I know I could be a WWE superstar, but fuck it. Like, I'd rather just punch somebody in the face. For real. Like, really punch someone in the face.
hmm And with House MMA, when did you start going to that gym, and how did you find it?
I was invited to come and train at Black House when I was out in Ohio, and they asked me to come out back in around December, early January, and that's when I came out here, tried it out for a few weeks, and went back home. And then I came and I moved here. I was like, I made the official decision. Like, this is where I wanted to be. It felt like a really natural growing environment. Everyone there's like family, man. Like, we really are. We're super tight, and it's a very growing environment, very encouraging environment.
Yeah, who are some of the people that you work with? Who are some of the notable training partners that you train with?
Yeah, Vince the Anomaly is a super dope partner. And we got gorgeous Georgie Garcia, who's out there. He also trains with me over at Saxon Muay Thai. Kyle Estrada is huge. Carla Esparza has wrestled with me a lot over there. There's a lot of really amazing partners, a lot. Like, the whole room is just filled with beasts.
And let's say you get the contract for the UFC come like in 2 weeks. Looking at the strawweight division right now, like, is there any dream fights that you want to happen once you get over there?
Yeah. Yeah, I've always wanted to fight Rose Namajunas one day, and I'm absolutely gonna fight, you know, the Karate Hottie at some point. You know, there's a lot. I mean, the division is stacked. You know, obviously Wei Ling is the champion right now, and I know I want to be the champion at some point. So it's just working your way through the ranks, and I'm extremely prepared to continue to work hard. You know, earn my contract and earn my way up there.
Yeah, and I'm very excited to see you get that contract. How many times would you like to fight in 2020? I know COVID's been sort of like a strange issue with 2020, but how many fights would you like to have before the end of 2020?
Well, coming up on August 11th, this will be my third fight of the year. And that's, you know, with the pandemic happening. So I'd love to fight 2 more times after this. Like, I'm a gamer. I enjoy competing. You know, I enjoy being active. I don't like that rest period in between. You know, I take that time for growth, of course, but I like being active. So yeah, I mean, as soon as opportunities arise, like, I'm ready to take them.
Hmm. And the last question I had for you, I didn't want to take much of your time, but I want to know the origin behind your nickname, the Little Monster. Was there like a certain person that gave you that nickname, or what's the story behind that?
Yeah, my first coach gave me that nickname. So, you know, he was a very aggressive coach, very aggressive, extra motivational coach when you're training. And he used to go around the room yelling at us, right? And he'd be like, in here, we create machines, we build machines, and we create monsters. You know, he's like, what are you choosing to be today? And he'd just be like screaming at us, right? And I was a cardio machine. Like, it didn't matter who was in the room. I'm always the little person, but I'll outwork anybody, right? Anybody. So he started calling me a monster. He's like, look, she's choosing to be a monster today. So that's how I got the nickname Little Monster. It just stuck, and I love it.
Well, I'm sure that we're going to see the monster come out on August 11th, but thanks for taking the time to talk with me. I really appreciate it, and
Heck
I'll be
yeah.
tuning into your fight for sure.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. You're super dope, man. Anytime, anytime. This is cool. Thank you so
Okay,
much for inviting me on.
yeah, no problem. I'll talk to you later, okay?
All right, have an awesome day.
You too.
All right, bye.